Welcome to another episode of This Week in Disney YouTube. Today we are reacting to one video today from the one, the only Mr. Hey Bricky. He went to Epic Universe out there in Florida very recently, and he had a great video breaking down the Isle of Berk as seen through the perspective of a Disneyland expert. We're going to break it down. Hey Bricky, up next here on OG50 Ball. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of the series that we do here on OG55 called This Week in Disney YouTube, where we react to amazing creators from around the community. Whatever their video was that week or recently, we break it down and discuss it. We recently did a great video reacting to two videos from Dave of Fresh Baked. A couple of weeks ago, we did a video reacting to the lovely Miss Emily Enchanted. We've done reactions to Christian Harloff. So this is the spot, me and Conductor. This is the series that we do where we react to the community at large. Conductor, welcome back, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Literally, right when this video is coming out, I am actually going to be in Orlando, and I don't know, my head's going to be spinning. So I cannot wait to break this video down of Bricky's kind of getting his perspective of the islands of Berk. Because I'll tell you what, you know, having them on my Conductor Sunday live stream for the very first time, going to have them back for sure, and talking to them on location. My gosh, I learned so much just by talking to them. And you framed it up perfectly. A Disneyland or Disney expert analyzing a Universal park.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what he says.
No, me too. Me too. Bricky has first of all, Bricky has a great perspective already because he has that architectural background. I've mentioned that many times, but that's unique in this community, right? A lot of people don't really have that. He's the only one that I know has that. So he's coming at it from that perspective already, but he's also more rooted in the Disney experience, that Disneyland experience, and even Walt Disney World. So for him that's why I loved his breakdown of Universal Studios Hollywood the first time he went there. Because it's like fresh to him, but he's bringing that Bricky perspective into that equation. I just absolutely love it. But Mr. Theme Park Conductor, where can everybody find you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on Instagram at theme_park_conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like the one and only Orange Go 55, and we break down theme park news, Disney, Universal. We talk speculation, we talk rumors, we interact with the chat interacts with us. And I have a big announcement. OG actually just saw it a few moments ago, but I'm not going to debut it until this Sunday. I have 2 items that's going to be going out to channel members for your love and support of Theme Park Conductor. So I definitely do appreciate it. If you want to join the memberships, they are on my YouTube channel. Go check it out. More content is to come.
There it is. There it is. All right, let's go. Let's dive in. Let's talk Isle of Berk. This is courtesy of the Bricky vlog. This is Bricky's secondary channel. So make sure I'm going to go ahead and smash that like button out the gate. But make sure, everybody, you're at home watching this, make sure you subscribe to Bricky's secondary channel. He does great stuff over here. So it will be in the description down below. Disneyland expert react to Epic Universe for the first time, the Isle of Berk. First of all, that opening shot, I mean, my God, people love Isle of Berk. They love this land. I've heard from Theme Park Wizard. I've heard from multiple people in our community. This is the land. This has been kind of like the sleeper hit of Epic Universe. So let's go ahead and break it down. Here we go. Take it away, Ricky.
Friends, I've put in my 10,000 hours studying the design and storytelling of the Disney parks. But today, I'm walking into Epic Universe for the very first time. One land at a time, I'm breaking down the layout, the scale, the force perspective, the crowd flow, all of it, to see if Universal just changed the theme park game. And we're starting with the land I expected to like the least.
So far, what I've seen online, which isn't a ton, I was so wrong about what this would become. Very excited to actually explore this pavilion, but I thought I would do them in the order of what my original anticipation was when they announced what the different lands would be. So out of the gate, the thing that I'm very, very shocked about is that there's an island in front of the portal. I had always envisioned that the portal, or the keyhole, would let you go straight into the land. And the fact that there's an island in front of it and you have to navigate around it, that really, really shocks me. And I understand that perfect crowd flow is taking 100% of the people and instantly dividing them in half. So therefore, people instinctively divide themselves, and that...
Yeah, and no, he's right. And this is what, out the gate, this is why we love Bricky. Look what he's doing here, right? This is amazing. But Disneyland does the same thing, where you walk in past the turnstile and the train station, and you have to go left or right. It's like he's saying, it's a design trick to kind of separate, guests.
Brings down congestion. But I think in this instance, it actually creates a very tight entryway and makes people make some decisions when they're just trying to look up and go in. Now, that being said, the front facade of this portal is absolutely beautiful. I love the rock work on both sides, framing the interior of the land from the exterior of the main walkway. That's super important, that there's not a lot of leakage. And I also like the kinetic energy, that there's movement on the front facade. Like, I wasn't anticipating the dragon going around the sphere there. I do appreciate that there's already a little bit of natural patina all over the front of the rocks to make it look like it's been here longer than less than a year. And the quality of the front portal, like the little insignias that are stamped inside of the bronze, it really does show a lot of storytelling and works well with the transportation. So with that being said, let's step in and I'm going to check out my first ever land inside of the brand new Epic Universe. Well, brand new to me. All right, this is my first walk in. The digital projection boards, which will look better at night. Nice big central icon to divide up our sight lines. Oh, wow. All right. This is pretty awesome. So first thoughts from about, I would say, like 10 or 11 o'clock over to where I'm standing at 6 o'clock. It's really, really themed, really dense, lots of storytelling, instant immersion. But from 10 o'clock over back to 6 o'clock on my left-hand side, there's definitely a lot of theme park spillage, a lot of leakage.
Yeah, and that does bother me. I mean, this is the thing. You, myself, Ricky, we're theme park nerds. Okay, like big time. This is the kind of thing that will bother the three of us, but it's not going to bother the average family going here, right? And Ricky's aware of that. We're all aware of that. But I do think that is important. That immersion is important. I do believe a lot of this, though, is easily fixable. I mean, this coaster right here would be, you could fix this. You could fix these sight lines right here with some well-placed trees and what have you. But does it bother? I mean, I'm sorry, I kind of spoke for you when I said it bothers all three of us, but does it even bother you, conductor, or you don't?
So I'm going to be honest with you. This coaster, in a way, it could use some coverage. I'm not going to lie about it, but the bigger elephant in the room is seeing Stardust.
Right. Exactly.
That's the bigger issue I have. Now, when Bricky was on the outside of the portal before he walked in, I love that the forced perspective. Like he loves using that terminology, and I love it myself. But the forced perspective of the entrance of Islands of Berk is literally I love this, and all the lands for Epic have this, so I love that. I love it. But when it comes to what he's looking at right now, this coaster, as much as I want it to be covered a little bit more, it, like I said, it bothers me more. I could see stardust from inside.
Yeah, no, that's how I feel. The coaster in the foreground, which I think is the hiccups, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you can only do so much with that. But like Stardust, they could definitely do more to cover that up, right? Definitely. Add some trees, some taller trees. You can put like a fake wall thing or whatever. And again, I'm under no illusion that the average family cares about that. You know what I'm saying? But as theme park nerds, that's what we do. You know what I'm saying? So
and that does kind of take away from the overall environment. But hopefully there's a tree line there that will grow over time and push us further into this world. But yeah, this opening body of water with the two sculptures out front with the fire inside of the mouth, this is absolutely awesome. I mean, there is a little bit of spillage over here behind me as well, the go away green building, but those trees will probably grow in and knock out a lot of it. All right, this is awesome. Looking back, I just noticed that there's actually lava on top of the lamps, as if that's what's making the light happen. That is awesome. The little light fixtures all along the way are very cool. And I do like that they put these little pockets in here, really not only framing you to the perfect moment, but a little bit of purposeful wasted space to just make it feel more organic and natural.
yeah.
Before you get into the grand entryway. All right, first thoughts. This is absolutely stunning. Now that I'm even closer to the two front sculptures in the front, the monuments, and keep in mind, I know zero about How to Train Your Dragon. Like, I think I'm in the Isle of Birth. I don't know. I haven't really done any research, so I would come in here as innocent as possible to give the best design breakdown. But the two front statues are doing something really important. They're creating a front scale that then pushes back everything behind it. So when people talk about forced perspective, they often think about going from the ground up. This is a different type of forced perspective where we're putting something that frames our foreground, creating an instant sense of like, wow, these are really big. So what's placed directly behind the foreground, it creates the illusion that it's at a similar scale when I can tell that it is definitely scaled down, making that top spire feel way bigger than what it naturally is. This is really, really good theme park sculpting. Also placing the ship right in front of us puts an item that we're familiar with, creating a sense of like, oh, I know how big a boat is, so that means that the statues are really big, which means that everything behind it is even bigger. And a very shallow body of water, but painted the perfect shade of blue to when that Orlando sun pierces through it, it just creates such a refreshing vista out into this world. And I didn't even realize there's a roller coaster dipping down over there.
And you can kind of hear it a little bit behind Bricky, but the music, the score in this land is absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm sure it comes from the movie. I'm not a big How to Train Your Dragon fan either. I probably know about it as much about it as Bricky does. But the music in those films, are fantastic. The scores are fantastic. I'm assuming this is also from those movies, but it adds so much to the area. I love it.
That's awesome. Oh, very cool. There's a map on the back of the stone that has the legend of the land carved on the other side. Very cool. So since over here to my right is the designed exit, I'm going to go around this circle in this direction. All right. Not exactly loving the mesh or the non-hidden security camera. That's not exactly my favorite, but I do enjoy that you go from concrete to walking on wood planks. But exposed track is definitely the universal thing. Hello.
Please look over that the apprentices are over here. We're working very hard.
Working the hardest anyone has ever worked ever. We're like welcoming everyone into Berk because our chief was busy or something. So it's our job now.
Well, thank you for welcoming me. Have a good day.
You're so welcome.
Bye-bye. Isles of Berk. That's where I'm at. When I do the design reviews, I try really hard to come into a subject matter as untainted as possible. I've only seen one video about this entire theme park done by my friends Peter and Kitra over at Ordinary Adventures. I watched that and said, that's enough. I'll wait until I can see it with my own eyes. So I'm not a huge fan of exposed track, but I do enjoy that this track at least is navigating its way around storytelling moments. And that is a good looking roller coaster. Those carts look great. And I do appreciate this chute right here that I bet that feels really awesome when you're cruising through this bad boy. Again, enjoying the sculpted faux hand sculpted storytelling pieces there. Just wish there wasn't as much spillage behind it, but that's just kind of a thing. And I'm always a big fan of spaces that you can't get to because it does create an infinity of storytelling. So this lower dock below us, I think that's really cool. Now I get why for the safety of the riders on the roller coaster, we have to have this scrim here so nobody can throw items down on the people and hurt them. I just wish it was like a thatch roof or some sort of storytelling element, like shards of rock you were breaking out of. Just something other than the scrim. I just feel like that ruins the storytelling.
Yeah, a couple things with the scrim. I do know they have a little bit of that too with the werewolf coaster over there at Dark Universe. A lot of people have complained about that as well. Yeah, I do agree with Bricky on that. I do think there are other options. I will say this though. I think the scrim in this land matches this theme probably better though than the Dark Universe scrim.
Yeah, and that's something I'm definitely going to analyze when I'm out there for 3 days because I'm going to hit Epic with Tommy and George. Me and Tommy are doing 3 days. George is going to do 2 days. But I'm definitely going to analyze that. But this kind of goes back to the video we did a couple weeks ago talking about the new villains news and what dropped with that. You know, something like this does not bug me. The reason why I say that is it looks like Hiccups, the Hiccups coaster, amazing. I can't wait to ride it. It looks like other elements of the park really kind of took a lot of the budget, which I'm okay with. Something like this, yeah, we could break it down, pick it apart, but it doesn't mean it's going to stay like this forever. This is something so small they can change later on that it doesn't bug me as much.
No,
Now,
I agree with you on that. I don't think the netting is as egregious. Like I think the Stardust Racers problem is a way bigger problem. But go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say this is a perfect shot from Bricky right now. If we had a massive tree line right there, that would be awesome. Because now I feel more secluded in the Isle of Berk than I do right now. Because I'm looking at Stardust, another attraction that has nothing to do with How You Train Your Dragon, Island of Berk, or any of that. So one thing that has been a consistent problem with Epic Universe was that there's not enough shade. But we all know with the brand new theme park, doesn't even matter what it is, even with the Universal Kids Resort in Texas, it's a brand new park. They can't bring 200-foot trees into a brand new park. They can plant trees, but it takes years and years for them to grow. So this is going to persist for another several years until maybe those trees that they probably do have behind that wall grow high enough where they kind of create that barrier.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at Grizzly Peak out here in California, DCA. I mean, if you take a look at some old photos of Grizzly Peak when the park first opened to photos of it today, I mean, I was just there like last weekend, and I mean, I was walking through that area, kind of amazed at how fully fleshed out that little foresty area is now. It's beautiful, gorgeous. It's really grown in nicely. Epic Universe will have that as well. It will grow in, you know, so.
And it does it on the other side. But just imagine if this was more rock work, like a cave, how much that would change this moment of standing right here. I also love that they put the smaller rocks out front of the sculpted monuments. It creates a nice visual stair-stepping of height and storytelling. big fan of light fixtures. I love how unique light fixtures tell a land story. These are great. All right, for obvious reasons, not going into the playground, but do enjoy these sculpted dragons out here. It's very cool how these sculpted dragons are created in an archway, an entryway, which makes, going into the playground feel a little bit more grandiose. On my first inspection, they feel like they're cast out of resin. Pretty usual theme park material. You notice when they painted them, they did something really clever. They used 2 different colors of the main color. So you can see there's the salmon color there that's the base, and then there's that same color with white added to it to create the highlights. So therefore, when the sun's hitting these things, it looks like they're glowing more than what they actually are. Then they also painted the shadows into the embossment there. So this area in here is painted darker. There's 2 different colors in the wood grain as well. So all of that works together to not only make these truly look hand sculpted, but to give them more depth, dimension, shine, and storytelling. Those are the type of details I live for. It is so awesome that we can slowly, and that roller coaster's everywhere. It is so awesome that we can slowly work our way up to this facade and keep enjoying it in all kinds of different perspectives. Normally these types of things are always in a controlled background space where you can only see them from a front entryway. The fact that we can keep cruising up closer to this one really makes it awesome. And I do love all the different layers, the different vertical stacking. And you can see there are a lot of hooks all over the place for safety of maintenance workers. That's cool.
Now, Isle of Berk looks amazing. Now, we're not done yet, but I mean, Isle of Berk looks absolutely incredible. And it is a fan favorite for sure in this park. But we recently got news from the Wrap that Disney is going to model Villains Land off of Isle of Berk, and not as previously, no, I don't want to say stated. They never really officially stated it before, but initially they were going to model it after Dark Universe, right? So I guess now internally they want to model Villains Land after Isle of Berk. And I stay true to my opinion on this. I just can't put my mind around that. Like a Villains Land modeled after this. I think for this IP, this style and this vibe is flawless. How does that work though with villains? I just don't know. Villains are a completely different animal. I just don't know how. When you're watching this stuff and you hear that news from the Wrap, I'm just like, I can't visualize where they're going with this. You know what I'm saying? I mean, is it really going to be that kid friendly? Like, I really thought Villains Land was going to be a little bit edgier, but I don't know. I mean, I'm open to seeing, more. I mean, I'm going to have an open mind. You know what I'm saying?
Same.
They did a really good job of hiding those. Look at the detailing on this little lantern here, where at night, when the light goes off, that shadow of the dragon will create a fun storytelling moment. And then, yeah, just a dead end. I get it. I understand it. I just always wish that these moments were a little more themed. Sculpted rock walls or a fictional gate that says it's going to take you someplace that we never get to go. I just always hate when you can see the exit of the real world from the world of fantasy. Stepping back a little bit further, really get an idea of just how deep.
And honestly, let me see. I'm going to try to get to that spot again. Man, I think I might have messed it up. Hold on one sec. Okay, there we go. Some of these issues that I'm seeing with this land are kind of preventable though, right? Like this is very preventable. Like you could create a gate that doesn't have wood planks with like an inch gap between each plank.
Yes.
Like this is something that's very easily fixable. But it's kind of like, why did it happen in the first place? Like you can see right through it. Like, this is a very easy problem to fix, but why did it even occur in the first place? I don't know. And again, I'm just being a douchey fanboy because this is stuff that most families don't care about. But do I have a point with that? It seems like an unnecessary issue.
It seems very unnecessary. Again, this is something like you mentioned, like Bricky mentioned, something easily fixable, but they decided not to theme it and they let it look like this while, before Epic even opened. So I would hope, again, in the future, they address this problem, because I think it does need to be addressed. We can all see it. There's, like you said, there's clear gaps where you can see kind of back a house, area, and you don't want to see that. But this kind of,
and it's a new park, so you kind of have the freedom to sort of do what you want to do. Like out here in Hollywood, Universal Hollywood, that's harder to do because you have to do with what you're given, so to speak. But out here, I mean, this is a brand new thing, But go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no. I was just going to say, this is just another thing they can add to the checklist to kind of fix later on. But something like this, compared to the scrim that Bricky was bringing up, this is something they couldn't avoid. The scrim, they probably thought, it kind of fits the theming of the land. It kind of fits the theming of the coaster, because there's other areas of the coaster that have that scrim. But again, is it detrimental?
No.
The normal family doesn't think so. They just care about, wow, it's the island of Berk. Man, this is amazing. Right. They're not paying attention to this, but for us, it kind of drives us nuts and gives us like OCD vibes. It's like, oh my gosh, why'd you leave that like that? So I would hope in the near future they would address this, and I'm sure they will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enough people will comment online about it. They will address it. And that's one thing that I love OG for, I love Bricky for, and others. If we share our opinions online respectfully, eventually these companies will pay attention to that and they will address these problems. But if you don't say anything, they'll never address it.
Exactly. No, well said. And that's why, like we've said before, it's important to speak out, right? It is very important to speak out. I've always said this too. When it comes to new parks, the biggest obstacle, the biggest hurdle is getting the park built in the first place. Once you get the park built, you can go in there and tinker with things and plus it and improve it. We've seen it happen with DCA, with every park that's ever built. Getting it built is the hardest part. So now that it's built, the biggest obstacle is behind Universal. Now they can go in there and fix these little design flaws here and there with, like, the wood panel, the wood planks and all that stuff. They can go in there later on and fix all that stuff. And I'm sure they will. This park will only get better as time goes on.
I always hate when you can see the exit of the real world from the world of fantasy. Stepping back a little bit further, really get an idea of just how deep this front facade here is. And think about it. I know that it's occupied by this roller coaster, which seems to be one of the signature attractions of this land, but they put a lot of space commitment into this center. Are you ready for it? Roundabout. That's right, friends. This is a fancy roundabout directing guests in a circular motion around the land, making it easy to navigate. And I just realized that there's jets there to spray the water when the guests get on that twist. It probably looks like the lowest moment to the water to add in that next sense of sensory immersion. Big shout out to the team that did all the rock work, sculpting work, these fictional logs that are here in front of me, putting the moss on there. Very cool. Oh, the water didn't go off that time. Again, enjoying these lower docks, these spaces that nobody can get to, but just adds that depth and dimension to the land. And speaking of dimension to the land, how great would it be if all of these pillars that hold up the roller coaster just had a rock casing around them?
Yeah.
So it looked like a spiky ridge of rocks that we were riding across. I mean, that you were riding across. I can't ride roller coasters. All right, this must be a universal thing, because here is the restaurant that people obviously want to walk up to. And then again, we have an island in front of our attraction. So I think that they are really banking on these little islands to divide people up, split people up, and softly help direct crowd flow. Oh yeah, old-timey, medieval freestyle machines. the types that kept
See-
our ancestors hydrated.
See, this is like, we talk a lot about theme park nerdiness and how we all get upset about, you know, sight lines and like these little details. This is the other part of that equation. This is something that's like, wow, us theme park nerds probably appreciate these machines a lot more than the families do. But this is like a positive thing. Like, you know, like this is a detail they probably didn't have to do, but they did it anyway. Right. They could have just put, yeah, they could have just put the freestyle machines in there. I've seen theme parks do that stuff before, but they didn't. They took the time to weather these, make them look like they're wood. I think it's dope, dude.
Oh, that's fantastic. And that's what I mean. There's, you know, Epic Universe with all the lands are, you know, they're a brand new concept. They're a brand new thing. They're, you know, they're not aged yet. And as the years come, certain things are going to be addressed. Like I said, we just saw the scrim. We saw that big wooden gate leading to the backstage area. But things like this make up for it. It's like you just said, how many theme parks do that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That,
no, 100%.
Attention to detail. It's kind of going back and forth.
Right, exactly. You're right, conductor. And this is the kind of land. There are certain theme park environments that will actually look better as time goes on and as the materials kind of age. This is one of those lands, right? Like, for example, Indiana Jones Adventure. I remember Tony Baxter talked about that, how the temple is going to look even better as the weather hits it, as the sun and the water, the rain, as the natural kind of the weathering of that temple occurs over the years. It's going to look even better and better and better and more natural. I feel the same way with a land like Isle of Berk, where it's like a lot of wood and it's kind of like this kind of worn out, weathered look. As the sun kind of hits this thing and the elements hit it, it's gonna look even better as time goes on. You know, so that's pretty cool.
Love that. We have this monument, again, sculpted. A little bit of a different painting style than what we saw in the grand archway in front of the playground. And then next to that is this little kind of faux petting zoo environment with some subtle animations, which is great. I appreciate the planner before you get to the fence. Therefore, creating a nice spatial relationship between where the guest is supposed to start and stop their destination. Definitely makes things feel more inviting when the fence isn't right on the walkway. It tells more of an exhibition story than a stay away story. Feels friendlier. So I have reached my first attraction, which absolutely not. No way could I ever ride that thing. That would ruin my month. It is cool though that the ride vehicle is offset by a solo dragon, as if he's the one who's flying you around. And that canopy, that's really, really cool for the back wall of this land. This front entryway keeps the same design aesthetic that we've seen on all the entryways. I love the consistency of the storytelling. Yeah, this back wall is gorgeous. Really, really enjoy that. All the different banner flags, the different mounted dragons on the facade that you can see on the other side. It's really cool. And then this attraction does have two different ride vehicles, it looks like. Yeah, one over here and then one over there. Very cool. As we're getting ready to explore the backside of the land,
I got you.
I'm loving this.
So if you can kind of dial it back to where he's showing that facade with the flags real quick. Right there. Okay. So again, this is just another prime example of a park doing something where you can only see this from the ground. Look how much detail went into those little flags off to the sides, and then the main element of that, which is the bigger flag in the center. Look how much detail went into the rock or the woodwork and all that. Again, the detail is there, and they didn't have to go that much into it, but they wanted to kind of tell that story.
Yeah.
That's why I mean.
No, absolutely. When they hit a home run with this stuff, they hit a home run with this stuff. Like the details are there. Like it's crazy. It's crazy good stuff.
And I want to say this too, and this goes for both Universal and Disney. This is what happens when you let creatives, when you let Imagineers be unshackled and really kind of put their ideas in the motion. This is what we see. This is a taste of what we see, what creatives and Imagineers can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Banner flags, the different mounted dragons on the facade that you would see on the other side. It's really cool. And then this attraction does have 2 different ride vehicles, it looks like. Yeah, one over here and then one over there. It's very cool. As we're getting ready to explore the back side of the land, I'm loving the shingles that are hand stained on this building over here. The pattern is, really unnoticeable by the eye. It's very cool looking. All right, we are at the furthest end of the central hub. Obviously, you can see out of the land from back here, but so far it's been a pretty seamless experience. There's the hotel that's the end piece of the Celestial Park, which we'll be checking out later. We'll check that out midday when it's not full of people that are loading in. The lights over here again look like they're burning torches. So far, this land is above and beyond my expectations. Right, so those tiles were the entryway to the roller coaster, and man, does this building look awesome. We have a sculpted monument or statue out front, the dragon head protruding out of the front. It has a nod to traditional Celtic design on the patterning around the front facade. Look how great this front light fixture handrail is. This is very, very cool. Love this. And there's a little walkway over here where I can actually, it's probably the exit or something, but I can walk over here and admire more of these little light fixtures are so awesome.
I love it.
This is a very, very cool breezeway to get you over to the next part of the attraction. And over here on the other side, we have a cool little pocket garden with another structure next to it that feels very similar, creating sort of a consistency of this little village or town that we're exploring. This one made of sculpted planks of very, very oversized wood, like you took a redwood tree and cut it like slabs of bacon. Loving the makeshift nature of this front facade. And I tell you why it's cool that I know nothing about How to Train Your Dragon. So if you come in here and you know How to Train Your Dragon, then it's awesome. You understand this world, you understand all the story beats and all the little Easter eggs. But what I like about not knowing the story is how does it hold up to somebody that doesn't understand the world?
Right.
How well does the land tell its story independently of the main intellectual property?
That's a great point that he brings up, because not everyone is going to be a How to Train Your Dragon super fan.
No.
Or even a fan at all. So the land has to do the heavy lifting for the people that are not familiar with the franchise. Is it something that if you don't know the franchise, you could walk in and still enjoy it? I think from what I'm seeing, hell yeah.
Oh, by far. The theming is just phenomenal. Minus, a few minor things, but overall, if I personally myself, I haven't seen How You Train Your Dragon either, but I know the story. And when I walk into this land in about a week or so, and I have the same reaction Bricky does, I'm going to say, wow. Even though I haven't seen the movies, just from what I'm seeing on screen, and again, there's a big difference from seeing things on the screen to actually being on location.
Oh, yeah.
But from what I've seen so far from Bricky, I can tell you right now, it entices me that much more to go into this land because it looks beautiful. And I can only imagine what it looks like at night.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I can't wait for you to get back from your trip. At the time of this recording, you're on your trip right now.
Yeah.
But I can't wait for you to get back from your trip. We're going to have you on here. We'll have Tommy on as well. And we're going to talk about this stuff, man. I think it's going to be very interesting to kind of pick your brain in regards to this park.
See, a lot of theme park fans complain about everything being based off of intellectual property, but if you don't know the IP, that requires the land to tell a story on its own separate. of the film franchise. So I do enjoy this task, even though I know that it drives some people crazy, but I don't feel like I'm missing out. In fact, I feel like I'm actually like testing the designers on, how well did they go above and beyond to make sure anyone, even a dum-dum, could understand the land. And then the next door neighbor facade is a merch shop. Not going to be doing any shopping, just looking at exterior, land, storytelling, design, all the things that I love the most. Even though I have designed a lot of products for a lot of entertainment companies, well, we'll save that for a different time. All right, I finally found a bench without, I don't know what this thing is doing, this ominous horn over here. But I finally found a bench that's not being commandeered by a guest. And when a land has original sculpted benches, then my heart is full. What is this thing? Right, get ready for the nerd meter to go up, because I can see how they sculpted the grassy moss on the rock work, and it looks awesome. You can literally look and see that they use an object, kind of like a fork, to mold around and move the clay. Wow, it's so cool when you can see the artist's hand. And then there are some of those lock-in loops to allow them to, belay and be able to get out here and do all the maintenance that they need to do. And it is awesome that you can actually walk over to this island structure. Very cool how much of this land you can easily get around. So when we were looking at this at the other side, the scale was much, much smaller to tell the story of all the little huts and the different levels on the side of the mountain. But now that we're able to stand in front of it, they have adjusted the scale to our height and to our reality. So this building is telling two different stories depending on which side you see. And then look at this wood spherical building right here. This is really cool. Not often do you see wood make a round building, or logs. All right, it's hard to see because of the overly bright sun and the shade, but look at the beautiful tile work on the side of this archway. I love that subtle gradient or ombre that's being created there with the tile work. All right, this is the back side of the mountain when we first come in, and it is again changed its scale where there's forced perspective at the top, because that you see from both sides. But look at what we're looking at down here on the ground level. It's oversized to really set up the expectations of being a grand hall environment. And look at the jigsaw puzzle of design. Like, there's so many different geometric planes that are popping out, folding, reshaping, remolding itself, really making you feel like there's a lot of activity here and that there's so much more than just one big structure in front of us. This is a massive storytelling device. Wow, whoever did this, really, really phenomenal job, friend. Your team nailed it. Which directly on the other side, we have the real sort of signature landmark for this land. And look at this thing. Again, flanked by two huge sculptures or monuments, fire being used again.
Now, I will say this. With Villain's Land, and this being the inspiration that they're going for, Bricky brings up a lot of the forced perspective in this land. Now,
Yes.
one thing that I can see this land being an inspiration for Villain's Land is this kind of stuff. We saw in the artwork, Forbidden Mountain with Maleficent's castle on the mountain, way up there, perched way up high. I could see Disney utilizing a lot of the same kind of design techniques that they're using here with this land for things like Maleficent's castle on Forbidden Mountain and things like that. So these elements of this forced perspective, I can definitely see that being incorporated into Villain's Land. And maybe that's what they meant by that. I don't really know. They were kind of vague, but go ahead.
Well, I'm going to tell you this: if they take the forced perspective out of this, out of Islands of Berk, I will tell you that's going to be phenomenal. The one thing that I think damages, at least in my opinion, the Disney image, since the wrap, and again, this is not 100% confirmed, it's just an article out there, but the rap and Disney are very close, and the rap kind of seems to be the mouthpiece of Disney. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong on that. But when they're saying, "Oh, these type of attractions they're looking at," it's like, wait a second, no, that right there was literally the most damaging thing they could have said or had Disney tell the rap to put in the article. Now, if they would have came out in that article and said, "Hey, instead of us looking at Dark Universe as inspiration, we're looking at Isles of Berk from a structural standpoint,"
Right.
then that would have kind of said, "Okay, now we get it." But when you start throwing, "Oh, we're looking at a spinner attraction, we're looking at, Emperor's New Groove as the main e-ticket roller coaster," that right there was the damaging image that Disney did not need right now, especially Josh coming in no matter than 3 weeks from now.
Yeah. Well, and this land is very family friendly,
Yes.
very friendly, right? So you have Hiccups, which is like a very moderate roller coaster. It's not good. I mean, I could probably go on that thing, you know.
Oh, sure.
You have some of the stuff, I mean, I can see also Disney, like, with the whole like Emperor's New Groove roller coaster, it being like a Hiccups. Like
Yeah.
that level of thrill, that is probably what they're going for.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I just feel like, and there's nothing wrong with Hiccups. I heard it's a great
No.
ride. There's nothing wrong with this land. This is a great land. I just don't know if this approach fits with what they should do with Villains Land, because Villains Land is not, it shouldn't be overly skewed to the kiddos. It needs to have a little bit more of a oomph to it. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more of a grit. And I just don't think that, like, I think this works for this IP,
Yes.
but
It
it
does.
doesn't work for Villains.
Well, the problem is, and I stated it in a video we did a couple weeks ago, was when we're talking about that article, was the fact that we shouldn't be culture shocked by this. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but we shouldn't be we shouldn't be shocked by what Disney is trying to pivot to. Because perfect example, during the Halloween season, Oogie Boogie Bash, we've complained about it. Many of us have complained about it for years. That's not edgy enough. It's catered to families. And on top of that, it's in a park that's more catered to adults. So that right there is an indication to me that I'm not surprised
Yeah.
that they're trying to pivot to that direction with Villains Land. It does not shock me. Does it disappoint me? Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
But does it shock me that they're pivoting to that direction? Absolutely not.
No, you're right. You're right. And yes, Oogie Boogie Bash as an after hours event, as a Halloween event from Disney, is a notch or two edgier than within like Mickey's Not So Scary, right?
Sure.
In Magic Kingdom. But you're right though. Even being a notch or so edgier and scarier, it's still maybe not quite there for what we need
Yes.
for a Villain's Land, And this is the thing, and I've talked about it in many videos too since that rap article, where it's like you don't want HHN. You don't
No.
want Villain's Land to be HHN. Obviously, you don't want scare actors and blood splatters on the wall and crazy stuff. You don't want that. That's not the tone either. At the same time, though, I don't think you want to go in the complete opposite direction, the other extreme with Isle of Berk. This is for kids, kind of. Like, not to say adults can't enjoy it, but it is heavily going in that direction of like that kiddo demographic. You
Yes.
don't want that either. So these are two extremes here. You have HHN or Isle of Berk. I think Villains Land needs to kind of right in the middle. I mean, even a thing like Wizarding World, when you go through Hogsmeade at night, it has that like dark, omniscious sort of vibe. Very magical, though. It's magical, but it's not overly cheerful. It's got a little bit of a creepiness to it going through Wizarding World at night. I think Wizarding World is a better model for Villains Land than I think this is.
overly sized doorway to let us in to make it feel grandiose. And then this one actually has real grass that appears to be grown, or something that looks very much like real grass on the roof line. And then that sculpture just goes up and up. And importantly, look at the notches in the sculpture. Look at the horizontal lines. These notches are to make our eyes think that it's way taller than what it is. And also the fact that it's bent toward us. It's not straight vertical. It has probably like I'm gonna say like a 30-degree pitch at us, which makes it feel even more present and even taller. This thing is awesome. Look at these sculptures here, just really sticking out of the front, creating such a scale.
And I love the use of fire in this
Yes.
land. Using real fire. They could have, honestly, Universal could have went like just, hey, they could have had some sort of effect that looked like fire, some sort of lighting fixture that kind of flickered or whatever. The fact that they're using real fire in those torches is absolutely insane to me. I love that.
Of storytelling, and then I love the symmetry of one on each side. Man, oh man, I gotta try to see this place at night. On the other side of the street, it gives us a great look at the overall scale of that central icon. Man, oh man, this is just so well done. Then again, in the grand entryway, you have that faux sculpted artwork that you see everywhere in this land. Here we have a central fountain. But before we get into that, I just really want to break down is how masterful this centerpiece is, that it feels to us like so many different things are happening. And the way that they sculpted several buildings into this faux, mountain or rock hillside is just so cool. It does a tremendous amount of storytelling. And then the 1-2 punch. A lot of lands would have one of these, but having both of these side by side, that definitely does warrant the description of epic. Super bright out, Orlando. But let's give a shout out to the team that did the mosaic work in front of this fountain, because this is absolutely beautiful. And then the fountain, obviously when you do the fountain this low and accessible, you're also seeing this as a splash zone for little ones to get to play in and cool off. So definitely a fun little storytelling beat here, but also a very guest-friendly beat, giving kids a way to get some of that sensory play out of the way in a place that's definitely full of sensory overload. It just has so many different little nooks and crannies, which is the part of the theme parks I love, is all of the little folds, right? Like the little seams where all the pieces come together. Fantastic. And really, I just can't get over the juxtaposition of these two buildings together. And the fountain is fantastic, but I mean, it just gets lost in all the epic beautiness around it.
Now, and again, I can't say it enough. The music in this land, you can kind of pick it up a little bit behind Bricky. The music really is something special. And this is one thing I really love about Universal in general. They're not shy with the music. I mean, when you walk into when you walk into Universal Studios Hollywood, like the bag check and all that stuff, they're blasting that music, man. The Back to the Future theme song and E.T. and I think even How to Train Your Dragon is out there as well. But the music is just full cranked up, just like, but it's not loud like an annoying loud. It's loud like, man, it just gets you energized for like your experience that day. And I feel the same. I feel the same thing about same way about this.
And this thing definitely goes on for a lot further than what I would have anticipated. Wow, this is really, really cool. It is indeed plastic. But man, until that fades, that looks so good. So I don't know what I'm looking at, but I know that it looks cool. But you get a real idea of how far that front spire sticks out from this back angle. And then all these rocks are angled out of a way to just create so much visual pitch. There is an insane line of people, I think, waiting for a meet and greet here.
Yeah, weren't we welcoming everyone in? This one. Yeah.
This one.
Hello.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Fine. Why? How do you know my apprentices?
I just met them earlier. They're very kind folks.
We were welcoming everyone in, weren't we?
Yeah, they were doing their job
Yeah.
above and beyond.
See? I'm
Someone
sorry.
write that down.
I'm sorry. Wait a minute. They were going above and beyond.
Yes,
What
yes.
they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And someone say exceeding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure about
Yeah.
these apprentices.
Here were my expectations. This is where they were at. They nailed it. Yeah.
Wait. I don't believe that that exists here in Berk. Exceeding
It's
expectations.
very hard, but you can do it.
You can do
Are you
it.
sure about that?
They did. They absolutely did.
And we did it today.
Oh,
I'm smelling a
well,
raise.
You know what?
Yeah.
I am glad you brought that up because during your annual review,
Oh, yeah.
I will make sure that I put you right underneath exceeding it.
That's not what I said.
Right underneath. I'm sorry, but nobody exceeds it. Except for the chief, he has made that perfectly clear. I know.
Yeah, rules are rules.
We're the new apprentices.
Well, we have something to aspire to work even harder for now.
I'm gonna work so hard this year, Bobber.
It's a lot more per spider than a spider.
Have a great day, guys.
Weekly and like actually by week and not just poorly.
Very weekly, trust me.
Bye, guys.
We tried.
I tried for you. Hey, you know I'm a huge fan of live entertainment if you watch the channel because it's moments like that that create core memories. So well done, team members. That was awesome. So the line is moving, and I think people are actually going to a show in that big blue building there. Interesting. I will allow myself to do research after this visit. Oh man, look at that pitch on that front spire, and there's like a little house on the very top of it that I couldn't even see because the sun was blinding me. And then there's this beautiful bridge that we walked across that has some sort of maintenance going on as they're still fine-tuning everything. But wow. Wowee wow. Fun little food stand on this back part of the land that I honestly just didn't even know existed. And then look at this bad boy right up here. So cool. And the consistency of everything, the quality is just top notch. Like the bench right above this sculpted light fixture.
Crazy.
And then, right over here, you have amazing vista. And again, we have an island separating us from the next big attraction. I've been in this land for 1 hour and 10 minutes. I'm giving myself 2 hours per land. I have them organized according to what I was most excited about, but also based on sunlight. I'm here all day. The park is open from 9 to 9. I got here a little bit after 9, got settled in at 10, 2 hours per land. I have 50 more minutes to go through here, and it is so much bigger, so much more expansive, so much more perfect than what I thought. Oh, the backside of this little island is a beautiful
I love
sculpture here.
Yeah.
But they're definitely using all of these islands seamlessly navigate their crowd flow. And hey, if it makes people get to where they want to go more effortlessly and it makes the park more breathtaking, then that is a win-win, my friends. So here we have another gift shop, which again, the double archways to create that village feeling. And then again, we have more characters out front. I'm not going to talk to them so that they can give attention to all the other guests. So I'm going to assume that this is the exit way for the show that everybody was lined up for. And then here we have a very fun Nordic archway. Yeah, Universal, come on. Let's keep painting the buildings. Let's keep hiding the buildings. You can do this. I believe in you. These front facades had so much thought put into them. Like the way that this front archway leans out and looks like it's, using these posts to keep it attached to the front of the building. And then the shipment of supplies hanging down on those crates. They really went above and beyond on all of these facades. All right, here's the famous toothless meet and greet, not doing anything that has a line, just judging the overall design aesthetic, but really, really cool meet and greet space. Well designed, well placed, lots of shade. People will be able to take photos in a controlled sunlight environment. Nice. I'll have to meet Toothless when I come back. That's going to be real soon. There's just so many cool little things like this everywhere. So awesome. I absolutely adore this. And again, with these light fixtures, come on.
Love that.
And we do have, as I said, some maintenance. That's all right. Park is not even a year old yet, so some things are going to need to get ironed out. Unfortunately, it looks like the water ride is currently shut down. I'm not going to get to explore that on this trip. And yet again, here's another sort of superstructure. Not as big as the other ones, but just another ginormous storytelling device. In a land that is not short on storytelling devices. Just the framing of everything is so well thought out. So we have a windmill that looks like it's made out of dragon wings. And then very importantly, a spiral staircase with the ridge below, the grass on it, and then the roof ridge. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different levels, creating vertical height for us. A icy dragon to greet us over here. Very cool how there is definitely just characters and little storytelling beats all around this land. Perfect example, just more of these faux stone sculptures greeting us as we walk around. It's very cool. That area that we just did is sort of a loop around the hub. And, you know, with the scrim, we can't see what it's supposed to look like. But what a great entryway to a land, no matter which way you go. And then down in here, oh, shit, curb. And down in here, that is the boat ride that I really love. It's flat, like wood cut out aesthetic that they gave to it. And I can't see it from the dining hall because they have the scrims over there too. That's all right. Always nice to have something to explore the next time you come. I mean, the next time, because I'll be here again this week, but under a different circumstance. And again, we have another awesome view from the back corner of the body of water, this time getting us closer to the Viking ships and the little docks down here that don't look accessible to anyone. So we have a restaurant over here and then a little parklet dividing up the space before we work our way over to where the exit is going to be. Another little petting zoo type area. And see, this one, the fence is just right on the walkway. Just doesn't have the same feeling as the one on the other side of the land. And then another beautiful embankment that will grow in nicely and make the nearby, I believe, restaurant go away. Another light post with a poorly hidden security camera. Oh, it does look like you can actually get down this stairwell right here and team members can get into this ship over here, which would just be so cool to put a character down there talking to everybody, holding court, being able to entertain lots of people on the upper rail, but also keeping the people moving along. We have ended up right where we're at. But you know what, friends? I still have 35 minutes on the clock for this land. I'm going to bank that time and try to come back here during either sunset or when the sun is completely down. Because with all the torches and the lighting packages I was able to see, I think I have got to see this thing lit up. And I didn't know if I would need to see it at night, but I feel like I definitely have to make sure that's something that I do. And as promised, I indeed did have to come back at nightfall. Running out of time, but I did have to just poke my head in here and see what this looked like lit up at night. And of course, it is not disappointing at all. This looks awesome. It's pretty dark in here. Like the lighting is very subtle, which is really added to the magic of how great this all looks. So at this point in the day, I have been to 3 of the 4 main lands. And my biggest takeaway from this land, it is by far the easiest to navigate. It has a very easy to understand central hub with an outer hub or a tier-shaped extension over there, making it very, very easy to get around. And if this is the land that was mostly intended for the youngest citizens of Epic Universe, they absolutely nailed it, but did the important thing. They made it fun for everyone because people of all age can come in here and just be amazed at how great this land looks. The theming, the spatial relationships, like this is just an unbelievable surprise. And I just can't really explain how they nailed like a perfect theme park layout in this one. A lot of the modern like single IP lands that are built, they compromise certain things for the guest experience to tell the story. This one has no compromises and the story is elevated to an unbelievable level. Thank you so much for joining me as I got to discover what was absolutely a surprise and in a day that has tons of surprises. What do you say? Join me tomorrow.
So big shout out to Bricky. We love Bricky. He is a friend here on OG55. Conductor and I are friends with this man. He is amazing, brilliant mind, great content creator, and an amazing friend. So big shout out to Bricky. I'll be linking his channel info down below. Conductor, it is an honor to chop it up with you, sir. If you could let everybody at home know where they could find you on social media, sir.
Absolutely. And I want to give a big shout out to you, Orange Grove 55. As I depart California, the West Coast, to go see our East Coast sister parks, Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando. I cannot wait. And to Bricky's point, he just gave me an idea. I'm going to state it here on Orange Grove 55. I'm going to have to do 2 separate videos per land. The day version, night version. I got to do it because it looks phenomenal. But you could find me on YouTube and Blue Sky at Theme Park Conductor, on Instagram at theme_park_conductor, on X at Theme Conductor, TikTok at Theme Park Conductor 1, and every Sunday at 5 or 7 p.m. for Conductor Sunday live stream, where we have amazing guests like the one and only Orange Grove 55 and so many others as we break down Disney and Universal news. We speculate, we talk rumors, we interact with the chat interacts with us. It's such a great time. And coming this Sunday at 7 p.m., my final Conductor Sunday live stream before my 2-week adventure in Florida, I will be debuting 2 items that I will be giving away to channel members as a thank you for supporting Theme Park Conductor. So definitely stay tuned for that announcement. And when I am down there, I will be doing live streams, 1-hour Q&A sessions per night, kind of going over the detail a little bit of what I experienced that day. So definitely stay tuned because there is so much content going to be coming out for Theme Park Conductor.
There he is. You heard the man. His information down below. Make sure you subscribe to Mr. Theme Park Conductor, and we'll have a Conductor on the show once he gets back from Florida to talk shop about his amazing trip. So thank everybody at home for watching, and until next time, see you.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and become a member today. Mwah!